All right, peace, everybody. I hope all is well. Well, welcome to the Herbalist Lounge. Right, so this evening you are joined by Asia and Lanita. Hi, Lanita.
Hello.
How you doing?
It's all good. It's all good tonight.
All right, so we are recording, and we'll go ahead and get started while others find their way in. But tonight we're talking about seed saving. So, um, is it Andrea or Andrea? I just want to say welcome to you and thanks for tuning in.
It's Andrea. Thank you.
Andrea, hi, hi. So Martina, she's here with us in spirit. She will join us at another time, but she's definitely her heart is here. So anyway, so tonight we're talking about seed saving. Lanita,
Yes.
where
We
are
should
you
just
representing?
jump right in there.
Look, I know I'm
Mhm.
about to. Which area are you representing today?
All right. I'm in Senegal, Fatigue, Senegal. It is 1 a.m. here. And I am the herb that I feel like tonight is some white hibiscus. It's prickly and citrusy and good. But sipping on some water though. I'm feeling that white hibiscus all around me.
Nice. Nice. I love it. So
Mhm.
I was about to say hibiscus since I'm drinking some, but also motherwort, definitely. Um,
Mhm.
I have to dig in and find it amongst my herbs because I've been meaning to make some motherwort tea lately. Uh,
Mhm.
and as we know, it hits all different types of aspects. So from your heart to your womb, uh, to helping that blood circulate. And I just feel like
That's it.
it's a good warm hug, like something that a mother would give, just make you kind of feel safe and protected and balanced too. So
That's it.
yes, so definitely. Once I find the motherwort tea motherwort amongst all my herbs, I will make some tea. So, uh,
Andrea is from Chicago.
Chicago.
Me too, Andrea. I'm from Chi-Town.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Okay. So, yeah, one of my dogs is trying to have some input, so it's gonna be right. She likes
He
to.
said, I'm from Hawaii. Whoop, whoop.
Yes, she is. Okay, so seed saving as we're talking about. So we
We
always
forgot, wait, Asia. We always thank our plant ancestors before we get started.
yes, yes, absolutely. So yes, let's take this moment. I'm just trying to jump right on in, huh?
Jump right in it. Yeah.
So yes, we always like to take the time to, um, say thank you to our plant ancestors, our ancestors, all those that came before us, and that has allowed us the space to meet and gather and to talk about these things, and that have done the work and the research before us, so that we have the information that we do now. So thank you.
Hmm. Okay, now jump in. Go
All
ahead.
right,
Go
see,
ahead.
see. so there are a lot of people that kind of like they had interest around seed saving when we posted the event, and I think some of the thoughts were because a lot of times people focus on growing the plants and harvesting the plants and what can you eat and what can you do with the leaves and the flowers and the roots and all that, and sometimes we don't always just talk about the seed saving because sometimes we don't let the plants go as far enough to create the seeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of interest around seed saving, and some folks that are in our audience have done seed saving, but some people have not. And I think it is a topic that is a continuous thing on, why and how to do so. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. This is never a lecture. It is always a discussion, and it's, just us rapping about plants and whatever the topic is. So,
Yeah.
Andrea, always your input is definitely welcome. So if you want to speak, please feel free to do so. If you want to put it in the chat, please feel free to do so. Because again, this is a discussion. So, all right. So, some of the reasons why we seed save, why do we do that? So, some of the reasons we have the importance of seed saving, and so we have biodiversity preservation. So, it's affecting the area, the environment that it's growing up in. And as we know, we talked about just uh, thanking our plant ancestors and the plants that came before us and stuff like that. But I like to think of it as like they are a part of the community. We are a part of that community and vice versa, right? And so every plant has a part to play in that community, along with mycelium that's communicating between amongst all of that. But if you take maybe a certain plant, like a native plant, out of that biodiversity, that environment, right, then you can lose the benefits of that plant or what it was providing. So the biodiversity, the preservation of which, so that we can continue to put that back into the environment. So I noticed like certain things that I planted when I would go places. So when I move somewhere, it might be a blank canvas. And then when I start to plant things, then I see different birds show up, like hummingbirds. I'll see bees show up. I'll see caterpillars show up. So just contributing to that biodiversity. And so that's something that we can keep going.
Mhm. And then also there are some, there was a case of a Native American corns
Mhm.
where they have been seed saving for generations. And, of course, they ain't telling us about it. But sometimes if you go places, they'll even share some of these heirloom corn seeds with you. And the varieties of corn, the different colors of corn, you don't see those anymore because they're forcing everybody to grow, whatever Monsanto is putting out there. But these heirloom seeds are still very good and viable plants that can be grown and that are really good for our soils because each different color corn brings something different to the soil. So that biodiversity that you were talking about is very important, and that we understand that and understand how plants can go extinct quickly once you're using the same seeds from these seed manufacturers over and over and over again. Then we lose the biodiversity of all of the different varieties of the same thing. You think that one tomato is the same. No, all tomato seeds are not the same. All corn seeds, squash is not the same. So um, it's important to save when we are growing plants. It's important for us to save our seeds and reuse them not only for ourselves, but share them among our little network of friends so that we can keep those particular brands growing and we are not growing just the hybridized seeds that they're producing from the big seed manufacturers.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I mean, just like you said, it helps with the nutritional value and not just to human
Definitely.
beings, to other animals, insects, to the soil all around us. So yeah. So the next thing we have is seed security, right? So
Mm-hmm.
right what you were saying, instead of relying on these monoculture type of companies and
Mm-hmm.
companies that are doing things for profit, we're able to actually rely on what we have and what we've grown. And I mean, so in my neighborhood, I might like cross pollinate something and we come up with different seeds versus like maybe somebody over in another state. And I'm in Vegas, by the way, I didn't say that earlier, but maybe somebody over in Utah might have a different type of pollination. So, or different
Mm-hmm.
type of seed. So, something that's very specific to the area, we want to secure that because that is what is nurturing the area and that is what is being nurtured by that area as well, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what you talking about nurturing the area. So I bought a whole bunch of seeds in Texas and brought them to Senegal. Like, ooh, I'm gonna grow me some greens. I'm gonna grow me some squash and lettuce and all of this. And no, you know, when we have seeds, it's all trial and error, and we have to understand that we have to test with some of the seeds first, especially when we're taking them to different locations, different environments, different type of soil, because the soil here was too salty for my seeds. And of course, I didn't taste the soil. I thought, I put some of my fertilizer down. I brought llama beans with me, which is llama poop. Great for the soil in Texas, but it did nothing for the soil here in Senegal. So my seeds did not work here, but I have learned what did grow. And so when the basil and the okra that I brought, those seeds grew. So when my basil starts to go to seed, I'm definitely saving those so that I can plant more basil next year because it does grow well in this soil. And same with the okra. I have saved some of the okra to gather the seeds and to plant that same okra next year.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was reading in the chat. Yeah, definitely the uh many of the herbalism programs, I haven't seen that they do have an extensive conversation on seed saving. And I think sometimes it's because, initially if it's an initial program, they're really just focusing on the what is it, the benefits of the herbs. And
Hmm.
I think that's like one of the main focuses. But yeah, definitely more emphasis on seed saving as you go along is so important, because if you were actually just growing the herbs in your yard, then you want to keep that. So it's important to observe that as well.
So, Andrea, I was in Chicago, I guess probably 2 years ago, and I was so excited to see all of this. Oh man, this herb grows all over in Texas, and I was like, "Oh, this is great! Well, we should get this." And then my cousin says, "No, you don't want that because it was, oh my goodness, it's my favorite thing. Goldenrod. Is that it? No, that's not. Is that what the
That's
flower
what
that
it
grows
is.
in the? Okay, goldenrod.
It's
The
it's everywhere.
goldenrod is everywhere, and I wanted to gather, and she was like, "No, that's too close to the road." No, that I was like, "Okay, yeah, you're right." We're trying to find some that's not close to the road. It was like, but still, it's not safe. The soil there, um, what you're seeing and what is growing there has been polluted because the soil is polluted or it's right on the road where there's so much, coming from the cars. But what you can do is save the seeds from that and then you can grow it in your own little garden at home. But that goldenrod was everywhere.
It's everywhere. And the farm I practice on, because I actually practice on the farm. I'm doing my
Okay.
internship, my
Okay.
apprenticeship on a farm that's located in South Chicago, in the South
Okay.
Chicago neighborhood. We had so much goldenrod. We had to actually compost a great bit of it. It grows
Oh,
very well here. You know
yeah.
what else grows good here? Mugwort
Dandelions.
and mugwort.
Yes.
Mugwort is growing all upside the expressways.
Oh my gosh.
But of course,
And you
it's not
can't
something
use
that you
it.
want to be. No, no, it's terrible.
Right. But in that instance, this is where we're talking about seed saving. You can't use the mugwort that's growing there on the expressway, but you can take it, save the seeds, and then you can, plant it somewhere safe so that, you get a really good product there because the seeds aren't contaminated by all of the stuff that plant has taken in. Your clean soil will help to clean your plant as it grows. So you can save the seeds.
Okay.
Yeah. Mugwort. Oh, I love mugwort.
That's some good stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
I was down in I lived in Southern Illinois last year for a year. Kind of more closer to St. Louis actually. So that's how the south I was. But um yeah, a lot of goldenrod just growing. And I wish I could have picked it too. But it was by the roadside.
Hmm.
Just even trying to take a picture with it, I got ate up by the mosquitoes. So
Hmm.
that was a definite sign that I wasn't picking that at all. So, right. Well, and then okay, so just what else we have on this list is obvious is cost saving because you don't have to buy seeds again. Uh,
Hmm.
keep growing and harvesting and planting again. So
Hmm.
let's see. So, of course, it adapts to local conditions. That's kind of like what we were talking about earlier.
Hmm.
I might be able to grow here. Somebody else in Utah might grow something different. Cultural preservation and kind of like what you were talking about earlier, Lenita. Some of the
Hmm.
Native American tribes, they have specific varieties of corn that's not available to
Hmm.
um, and I know, in my southern uh, heritage of the United States, we have very specific seeds. And in reading Farming While Black and listening to Leah Penniman, she talks
Hmm.
very specific strains of rice that were brought over with our ancestors to the Carolinas. And that is why they have the rice that they do. And that is something that is very, very sacred to our culture in that area. Um, and even the types of cotton, like Egyptian cotton,
Hmm.
different types of seeds and crops that were brought over.
Hmm.
And then, of course, one of the obvious ones is sustainability, right? When we're planting stuff and it's either adapting and then growing, um, then we're helping uh, in the mode of sustainability. So yeah, what else you have to say about it, Lenita?
Well, you're talking about cultural preservation. And I've seen, of course, on the social media, I'm a member of different groups, and you see these farmers, and they're growing collard greens that big enough to wrap a baby in.
Mm,
And
mm,
I'm like, okay, we got this big product, but is it good? Is this what we want? Because the greens that our ancestors grew, they were reasonable size. They fed everybody, and we know that these were natural and good plants. But when you start getting plants so big, you wonder, has this been genetically modified? Has this been altered? What's happening? And so the cultural preservation of the foods that we are eating, we also want to keep the nutritional value, and we don't want all of the chemistry that has gone into modifying these plants, to mess up our nutrition and our herbs. So, um, by seed saving, when you get a good product that you like, when you get some good plums, or we got watermelons, we got tomatoes here. You don't even plant them. You just throw some seeds out in the yard, and you we got tomato plants everywhere. And it was like, okay, these are good seeds. And they're not hybrids. They're seeds that we can use over and over again. Because some of the hybrids, and you can in the when you buy the hybrids in the store and garden stores, be aware that they will grow 1 year, and you may can save those seeds and grow them another year, but they won't grow a third year. So the hybrid seeds are made so that you have to keep coming back to these seed manufacturing companies. So us saving our seeds is so important. And I think that one thing that I learned from my herbalist education and my herbalist instructor was that all seeds are not like you see big seeds. They're not watermelon seeds or lemon seeds, orange seeds. Some seeds are so, so tiny, and you have to be careful with those. But even saving those are important too.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, T just went back to Hawaii, and I had some seeds from there that I hadn't used, and I hadn't intended on using them. And so I said, "Nope, go take these seeds back and put them back in Hawaii because I ain't using them. Take them back."
Mhm.
She was laughing. I was like, "No, take them back. And go flourish where I got them from."
Well, yeah, we were just in Morocco, and we saw some red amaranth and some, it was white, yeah, white amaranth. And I told Martina, I said, Martina is the other part of our the herbalist spice team. So she was Martina's a seed saver. So we were grabbing the flowers and grabbing it and put it in a bag. And then these little tiny black dots came up. Martina says, "There's your seed." I was like, "Are you kidding?"
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna still find it and plant it and try and see what comes up here. And some of your seeds are your food. Oh, you fixing to show that right now? Go ahead. I see that in the picture.
Oh, you're talking about how to save the seed?
Yeah, the seeds are sometimes, the food itself, like the black eyed peas or the peanuts, or some big thing that you normally eat is also the seed too.
For sure. Yes. Or even like what coffee beans, we be using those.
Mm-hmm.
That's the seed. So yeah. Okay. So we're just gonna talk about some of the stages of
Mm-hmm.
saving seeds. And so,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, obviously you gotta pick them or not unless you just let nature do its thing. Um, so we're gonna harvest them first, right? But the question is when to harvest
Mm-hmm.
because it depends on the plant, right? So, like for instance, I had pomegranate about 2 weeks ago, and they were wonderful. Best pomegranates I had ever tasted. But we know that we can harvest uh, the plant or the excuse me the fruit and the seeds in there
Mm-hmm.
when that is right and that is ready to be pulled and harvested. But other plants, they might have to what we call go to seed first. And so, like lettuce, for instance, I've seen lettuce go to seed or bolt or what have you. So the the lettuce leaves will morph and change, and they will become less edible, a little bit tougher, more pointy. What I've seen, and then the shoot will come out, and then the plant will eventually dry, and what is left in that dry form is usually the seeds, whatever has bolted them after the flowers come. whatever's left, those are usually the seeds, and those are also tiny seeds too. But
Mm-hmm.
so you have some that you'll wait until the plant dries and crusts over, and it's time, and others you wait until the fruit is ripe. You have to know what kind of plant you're dealing with on when to harvest that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then this is the next one is what we are talking about. Well, cleaning the seeds. So, you know, um, so some seeds, again, like the pomegranate, you have to process the fleshy outer part, before you can get to the seed. Some seeds are much easier to get to. So you have to make sure that you pull that out. Again, if it's dry, then you're just taking off, the dead parts from around it. But also, there was something like wet versus dry, and some seeds you have to like ferment. So like, what was it, pumpkin or squash? Some of those you have to ferment. And the other one that you were talking about, Lanita,
Mm-hmm.
uh, they have to be what,
Oh,
pasteurized.
uh, that they have to be frozen. I mean, they have to go through the cold season before you can before you plant them, because some seeds, if they stay on the plant, if you don't harvest them, you leave them on the plant, they last throughout the winter. And then in the spring, when the wind starts to come and the rain, it blows the seeds, and that's how they germinate. I mean, that's how they replenish themselves. You don't have to, they're kind of self-seeding. But if you want to save those seeds, you have to store them in like the refrigerator. Some need to even be frozen, because they have to go through that cold period in order to be a viable seed. So, yeah, some seeds need to be cold stored, and also some seeds you have to dry them. I just finished with a lovely papaya,
Mm,
and I had to wash all the pulp off of the seeds and then to put them out in the sun to dry, but in between some like cheesecloth so that they don't blow away when they do get dry, because they're really light once they dry. So and then others, you have to sprout them, you have to moisten them up before you can plant them again. Like date seeds, you have to keep them moist until they start to sprout. Cannabis seeds, you have to moisten them up until they sprout before you start to grow. So, just know your seed, really do your research on your plant once you save your seeds on what you have to do. Whether you need to keep it dry or moist or cold, or what it is it needs before you store it,
mhm.
to know how to store it before you plant again.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And then always you want to label them because, oh my
Ooh.
goodness. I don't know how many times I've been like, oh yeah, I remember what this is. And then I get to a year later and I'm like, just put it in the
What
ground. I
was
have to
this?
find out.
Let's see what comes up. That's it.
hmm Yeah, yeah. So always, always, always when working with plants, herbs, what have you, if they are
Yeah.
not in the same form that you grew them in, if you can't easily recognize them, even if you think you can easily recognize them, sometimes we deal with so much other stuff. It is very helpful to come back and say, oh, okay, this is this variety of lettuce. This is this variety of
Mhm.
greens. And then this is what I harvested it. Um,
Mhm.
to keep good records. Some of my farm school training is like kicking back in, but you always keep
Mhm.
good records. So if you need to come
Mhm.
back later, like after you've planted them, I read something about keeping a seed journal too. But after you've planted them, then you'll know, oh yeah, this was a really good variety. So I want to be able to make sure that I store this again, or what did I do to get to this?
Mhm.
So yeah.
And also date them, because We had some hibiscus seeds that I've had for like 5 years, and I thought, oh, we'll just throw them in the ground. Didn't get a bud, nothing grew. But so you want to know, most seeds are viable for a year or two, and then some last for eons. But you want to date it so that you know the next time, hey, these seeds last a long time. It doesn't matter how long you store them, or these seeds, you have to use them within a year or two, or they're not going to be good.
Mhm.
So dates are very important when you're labeling your seeds.
I was just going to ask that how long they last, but I guess it just depends on the seed, depends on the
Hmm.
plant.
Hmm. Definitely depends on the seeds, because some of those heirloom corn seeds that some of the Native Americans had, some of those were like 40 years old and those seeds still grew. So it may, depend on the plant and also depend on the condition that they stored them in too.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
Mhm. So next week, we provided some additional resources too on seed saving and some books that are available. And they either talk about seed saving, they talk about a bunch of different things. But so we have, for the people that are listening and not can't view this screen, we have Black Futures Farming, and that is a guide to building a new food system by Dr. Monica M. White. We have Farming While Black. I talked about that one a little bit earlier by Leah Penniman, and she has really good information in that one. I haven't read all these books, by the way, but these are still good sources. I just want to put that out there. um, Black Soil, Celebration of Black Farmers and Their Impact on the Land by Michaela L. McGlynn. All right. And then we have The Garden of Our Ancestors, A Guide to Black Farming, History and the Power of Soil. That one sounds really exciting by Rachel Green. All right. And then we have Edible Gardening for the African Diaspora by Janet A. Steffes. And then last but not least, The Color of Food, Stories of Race, Resilience, and Farming by Nia Robinson. So um, lots of good information focusing on history, farming in general, and seed saving. Lots of good stories in between. Go ahead, Lanita.
Those seeds in the picture are nebadai. So talk about cultural seed saving. That's moringa that people are just beginning to discover all of the benefits of. But the plant has been around for eons, big in Africa, but now they're beginning to find out more about it, and people are using it more worldwide. But I just saw those moringa seeds there and say, yep, that's some never die.
Mm. I learned I had heard about moringa, used moringa before
Hmm.
in powdered form, but hadn't
Hmm.
encountered the seeds until I was in Hawaii. So big in Hawaii because moringa just grows. Like you could just be walking down the street and pick it off of someone's
Hmm.
street. Um, and also, in the Filipino community, definitely moringa is like gold.
That's it.
Mhm. So I remember when I was in California, actually, and there was two Filipino ladies, and one had made a special trip because I was at my 9 to 5, and one had made a special trip to bring the other woman some branches off of her moringa tree.
Mm.
Super important. Mhm. And I was like, oh, where you get that from? Next time you come in, I know I don't know you, but hey.
Yeah, bring me some.
Yeah.
So there are so many seeds, I mean so many plants that we just overlook. And when you get the seeds, it's like Martina has taught me and showed me different ways to harvest seeds. I really didn't have a clue. I'm used to going to the big box store and buy the plant, put it in the ground, there we go. But starting from the seed really makes you appreciate the whole process of the plant and watching it go through all of the stages. One now that I'm about to get to the phase of is basil. And I learned in Texas when the basil starts to flower, um, you can let it go to seed, or you can pick those flowers off of it and you still can get several more months out of that basil. And then afterwards, when you're ready for it to go to seed, you let it go to seed. You don't have to do anything with the basil because it will it will reseed itself. If you just leave those flowers on the plant, it dries up and it goes. But like the cilantro goes to seed so quick. And I was like, man, what do I do with this? And I was like, well, shoot, I'm eating some coriander because coriander seeds are really good. Coriander oil is really good. It has all of the nutritional benefits that the cilantro has, and even some more. But you have to watch your plants and know what you want from it. Do you want to eat the seeds? Do you want the seeds to grow the plants? So just a little tidbit there.
Yeah, for sure. And you just you unlocked a memory for me. Like with those tiny seeds, they'll take tape.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's a way of preserving it because it's kind of hard to keep up with. I
Hmm.
you want to either store it in some paper that I done folded over, or like a plastic bag or something. But keeping those seeds together, sometimes putting the seeds on the tape, and then when it's time to harvest them, painstakingly picking them off. That's another tip too. But yeah, yeah, mm, that's nice. And then it's nice to have some basil flowers. Jessica's like, yes, love me some basil. Um, yeah, that's like a top tier treat.
All right.
Mhm.
And then some of those plants, because I've had some to cross pollinate, like I think you were talking about earlier, and then become a different plant. I had a herb spiral, and I had the basil growing, and I had some oregano. And the oregano and the basil got together and created a new type of oregano, and it was so good. So I love that somehow those seeds merged and created a whole new plant that was so tasty. Um, so by letting some things go to seed and allowing them just to do what they do, or allow the insects that are pollinating your plants to create a new plant for you, it's awesome.
Mhm. For sure.
Mhm.
Some things, me and my doctrine of signature, some things are just for
Mhm.
you.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Andrea, do you have any favorite seeds you save or that you are replanting?
No, I don't, but I am actually because in my program we have actual beds with different plants in them, and
Mm-hmm.
my most prevalent plant, and it's actually pollinated and gone to the end of our row, and I steward that as well, is stinging nettle. Now
Oh.
I know, yeah, I'm the mommy of stinging nettle. I kn-
Nice.
and I know when to pick the flowers for seeds, but I don't know how
Hmm.
to actually extract the seed. So that's what I was wanted to do, and only that one. There really no more that I have no interest that I have an interest
Well, the good thing about stinging nettle is you ain't got to do much. It's gonna seed. It's gonna
in.
regrow itself.
It's gonna seed, and you know what it's also gonna do? Bring borage with
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
Mm.
That's right.
Yeah, but they wanted me to try to save some seeds, and I think it's still some some a chance for me too, because I do have a patch at the end of my
Mm-hmm.
section that has quite a bit. It's very strong and it has quite a few
Mm-hmm.
flowers on it that can be, that the seeds can be taken out of. So,
Mm-hmm. And then
but
are
we
you
don't.
supposed to to separate the seeds and like package it or store them some save them
Yeah,
some kind of way?
yes, I'm supposed to store them.
Um,
I'm
okay.
supposed to, yep, store them and save them. They're very tiny. They're the
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
tiny ones y'all was talking about. They like the size of a
Mm-hmm.
pinprick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm supposed to save them because we don't have any saved on the farm. And I actually had saved a few
Mm-hmm.
earlier in the season, earlier in the summer, but I hadn't done anything with them. They're
Mm-hmm.
just in a
Well,
they're just in a bag drying. Oh,
well,
I
make
also
sure
have.
that you do all your research on it to make sure of how to store them. Because the worst thing is to think you're saving seeds and you've done something wrong, and then you go to plant them and they're molded or they were too dry. So make sure you do all your research on that stinging nettle seed to see how it should be stored properly before over the winter.
Okay. And yes, I actually do have another one, mullein, but somebody gave me some mullein seeds,
Mm,
stored and ready already. And we have quite a few. We have like 3 or 4 mullein plants that grow on the farm already naturally, but
mm-hmm,
I did want to try it at home. I did want to try them at
Yeah.
mm. Well, I've actually grown mullein from seed, and that one is not difficult at all. So you got a good
home.
one with that one. And the stinging nettle, I've never even saved the seeds because it just keeps coming.
Yeah,
I've only
because
encountered
it's
that in
actually.
nature.
Yeah, I was actually wondering. I was wondering why she wanted me to save seeds. Why my teacher wanted me to save seeds. I'm like, this stuff is abundant. It it's in to the point where it's invasive.
Mm.
So, but they wanted to start saving seeds. So I said, okay, well,
And it also may be just an exercise for you to see how to save those little tiny seeds and how to replant them. Because like Asia was saying, it's no joke. Sometimes you have to just stick them on some tape, to keep those little tiny seeds. So that may be the exercise in you doing stinging nettle because that's something that grows easily. But if you were doing something a little bit harder, like lettuce or some of the greens, the seeds are so tiny. So with stinging nettle, you just don't have any problem with it. So that might be, an exercise for you to learn how to save those seeds for something that grows really easily from that seed.
right, right,
Mhm.
For sure. Jessica. So, Lanita, I'm gonna also let you answer this one too.
Mhm.
And mullein. So I've only dealt with mullein in the wild, and when I did grow it, it was
Mhm.
in California. So anything that survives in my garden can die and then come back, and that's what happened.
Mhm.
So that was my experience. But Lanita, I'm gonna let you go for it.
And in Texas, we get some harsh winters, and the mullein came back. The mullein came back itself, so I didn't have to do anything with that.
I wonder if it's one of
Um,
the ones that needs the cold to come back.
I don't know. It depends on where you are and how cold your cold is, how long your cold is.
Mhm.
Because, like for us in Texas, winter is a month, maybe 2 months that you're going to get some really good deep freeze. But other than that, it's cold. It goes down, like in the 40s, but deep freezes, we're only going to have like a month of that. So if you're in a place that has a longer winter, I probably would try to protect it, or, at least cover it with some plastic or a cloth. But if your winter is not that long or that hard, um, mullein comes back.
Mhm.
mullein is pretty hardy. Here
Hmm.
in Chicago, we're zone 5, and ours on the
Hmm.
farm. I mean, it took 2 years. So the first
Mm-hmm.
year we put it down, it wasn't that great.
Mm-hmm.
But this year it was strong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, you find that the first, if it's a first year plant, then I would probably be protected because our first year plants, because we planted some more first year mullet, and it sustained some damage, and it just died right away. It didn't.
Mm.
It didn't even
Mm-hmm.
last a month and a half.
Mm. Yeah, but y'all get that real serious snow.
Yeah, yeah. It got cold. It actually doesn't
Mhm,
snow here a whole lot like it used to, but it gets
mhm,
very cold. We get dangerous
mhm,
temperatures at least
mhm.
3, 4, 5 days a year. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jessica, for dropping those links. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, they have yeah, you can also check your social media pages for different groups because where I lived in Texas, in Northeast Texas, they had a group where people would get together and exchange seeds.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like, we got some seeds, and it's not like we're trying to make some money or something from it. Everybody was just helping everybody else, and it was all different type seeds that they would exchange. Or some people would ask in the group, does anybody have any? And it was really good. So if you're interested, you may look at social media for around you and see if there are any seed saving groups.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a good way to get some seeds right there.
Hmm.
Mhm. Is there anything else we want to talk about seed saving related?
I think we didn't hit all the good points. Oh, then you go
Yeah, you all
social
have.
black eyed peas.
Thank you. This was very helpful. Thank you all so much.
Mm.
Good, good.
I mean, mhm.
Mhm.
So yeah, okay. So you can catch us on different social media podcasts, social media platforms. So on YouTube, it's Herbalist Lounge at Herbalist Lounge. On um, Instagram and Facebook, it's at Herbalist Lounge. So we post the Herbalist Lounge, what is being recorded right now. We post that on our YouTube channel. So if there's something that you want to go back and listen to, it will be available there. And we have other, videos as well there that we've uploaded. We also have the kitchen medicine making workshop. So I'll type that in shortly, not unless you're able to type it in, Lenita, into the chat.
What?
The link for the kitchen medicine making workshop. You're like, uh-oh. Type it in a minute. But okay, how about this? I'm gonna let you talk about the kitchen medicine making workshop while I type it in, so I'm not.
Okay, that'll work.
Go go.
That'll work. Okay. All right. So the kitchen medicine making workshop is a course that we did. Each of us were telling about different herbs and plants that you use from food or spices in your kitchen. And we actually show how to make the medicine. We left recipes, and there's also a handout that comes with it with the recipes on there to tell you how to make the different medicines from the herbs and spices in your kitchen. So it's a great course if you're interested in that. You can pick it up. Asia just typed the link in, and look forward to some more stuff coming because we're gonna share it with you as we can put that information out there. We will share it. So, did I talk long enough, Asia?
I was about to type in the next one too. All right.
Okay.
So So if you follow us on IG, and please, if we don't follow you on IG, please, or if you're on Instagram, go ahead and drop your link and or how you can be found in the chat so that we can all follow each other. But so you can get reminders of when the next Herbalist Lounge will be. It's every second Monday of the month. But if you go to this website listed below, and I will type that in, then you will get the link directly to this Zoom that we have every second Monday of the month. Um, so I know on Instagram it's hard to, click on anything. It's just more so like a picture. So with this, it comes straight to your inbox, and then you can just click, and now you're in there. So that's if you subscribe, but also on Instagram, if you just hit a reminder on Instagram on that picture, then it'll remind you as well too, right before the Herbalist Lounge starts. So you can always tune in that way as well. All right. And just like I said, we're every second Monday of the month, we are here. We'll talk about different plans and, everything surrounding that. And so it's always 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or whichever time zone you in, plus or minus that. So
Because it's 1 a.m.
1 a.m. All right, Lenita, I'll let you take it away.
Well, we appreciate y'all for joining us tonight, and I hope you enjoyed our little session here. Please come again.
All right, peace.
Peace, y'all.
Good night.
Good night.